EW6. Imagine you are standing at the edge of a deep, peaceful forest. The sun is shining, and a cool breeze brushes against your face. You feel completely at ease. Now, think about your everyday life. Are you stressed, overwhelmed, or struggling with an illness that no medicine seems to fix? Have you ever wondered if there's another way to heal, one that doesn't involve popping pills or running to the doctor every time you feel off? What if the key to true healing is already inside you? How often do we ignore the power of our own mind in shaping our health? What if the thoughts you have daily, the emotions you carry, and the energy you spend could actually be the root causes of many of the things that make us sick? Imagine being able to tap into a powerful, natural force that could help you heal from within. What if you could stop running to external solutions and, instead, begin to heal yourself through mindfulness, understanding, and spiritual awareness? The truth is, healing doesn't always need to come from outside of you. It doesn't always need a pill, a doctor, or some complicated remedy. In fact, many traditional teachings, especially those found in Buddhism, suggest that the greatest healing happens from within. It's all about changing the way you think, feel, and experience the world around you. By practicing mindfulness, awareness, and compassion, you can begin to unlock the natural healing power that resides within your own body and mind. Welcome to Wisdom Writings. This channel is dedicated to bringing you transformative ideas and practical wisdom that can change your life. If you find this video insightful, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. There are so many views on this channel, but only 0.2% subscribe. So, please, take a moment to hit that subscribe button and be part of a growing community of people seeking true, lasting change. And, of course, drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear what you think. As we continue this journey into healing without medicines, stay with us. The path ahead will open your eyes to new possibilities, where your mind and body work together to create the wellness you deserve. The nature of suffering. Understanding the root causes of illness. As you stand in the stillness of your thoughts, imagine for a moment that you are sitting by a quiet river. The water flows gently, the ripples appearing and disappearing with each passing moment. Now, think of the times when you felt stress or pain in your life. Where did it come from? Was it something external, or did it begin from within? We often blame the world for the suffering we face, but in truth, the roots of much of our pain lie inside us. This is where Buddhist teachings offer deep insight. The Buddha spoke of suffering as a fundamental part of the human experience. It is something that we all face in different forms. Some of us experience it as physical pain, some as emotional distress, and others as the deep existential ache of not understanding why life can feel so challenging. But what if I told you that suffering, in its many forms, doesn't come from the things we often point to? What if the cause of suffering is something much deeper and more subtle than we realize? In Buddhism, suffering is understood through the concept of dukkha, which refers to the unsatisfactory nature of life. Life, as we know it, is filled with constant change and impermanence. We attach ourselves to things, people, and outcomes, believing that they will bring us lasting happiness. But, just as the river flows, everything changes. We hold on to fleeting pleasures, moments of security, and desires that promise fulfillment, but they all eventually fade away. This attachment is the root of our suffering. Now, think about the moments in your life when you have felt pain. Have you ever experienced physical pain that felt endless? Perhaps an illness that just wouldn't go away? Or a time when your mind seemed clouded with negative thoughts? These are often signs that our attachment to expectations, to outcomes, and to the need for control has become too strong. We have become attached to things, and when they are taken away or don't go as we wish, suffering arises. But this isn't the whole picture. The Buddha didn't just say that suffering is inevitable. He also shared a way to understand it, and, more importantly, a way to overcome it. In his teachings, he spoke about the Four Noble Truths, the first of which is the truth of suffering. But just as there is suffering, the second truth reveals that there is a cause to this suffering, and that cause lies within our own minds. At this moment, you might be thinking, but how can my thoughts cause my pain? Isn't it the world around me that's the problem? Let me share this. The Buddha taught that our minds are like fields. Whatever seeds we plant in them, be they thoughts of attachment, greed, fear, or anger, will grow into something that shapes our reality. If we plant the seeds of attachment to things, we create suffering when those things inevitably change or disappear. If we plant the seeds of fear, we create suffering by resisting change. These thoughts, emotions, and desires are the cause of the ripples we feel in our lives, and they are often what manifest as illness or discomfort in the body. It's important to realize that suffering doesn't just come from physical ailments, though these too are part of life. Our mental suffering is often what contributes to the breakdown of our physical health. Stress, anxiety, anger, and worry, these emotions create tension within our body, leading to ailments that seem to appear out of nowhere. Our minds and bodies are not separate entities, they are deeply interconnected. What affects one inevitably affects the other. When we understand this, we begin to realize how powerful our thoughts really are. Our minds are not just passive observers of the world. They are active creators of our experiences. Every thought we entertain, every belief we hold, shapes how we see the world and, ultimately, how we experience life. This is why it's so important to pay attention to what is happening within us. Are we feeding our minds with thoughts of resentment, fear, or anger? Or are we cultivating thoughts of peace, understanding, and acceptance? Many times, we look to external factors to solve our suffering. We think that by changing our environment, our circumstances, or by receiving a treatment from the outside, we can finally be free of pain. But true healing comes from within. If we only treat the symptoms without addressing the root causes in our minds, we are likely to find ourselves stuck in a cycle of suffering, even if we feel better for a while. The Buddhist teachings remind us that healing begins with understanding the nature of suffering, both in the mind and in the body. You see, the key to healing is not in avoiding suffering, but in understanding it and learning to let go of the attachments that create it. The more we cling to things, the more we try to hold on to what is impermanent, the more we invite suffering into our lives. But when we practice mindfulness, we start to recognize these attachments for what they are: temporary, fleeting, and ultimately out of our control. Imagine for a moment that you could let go of the need to control everything around you. What if you could release the pressure to make life go exactly as you want? What if, instead of resisting change, you could accept it with a sense of peace? Wouldn't that shift your experience of the world? This is the path that Buddhism offers. It is the path of embracing the impermanent nature of life and learning to live in harmony with it, rather than fighting against it. In this journey of self-healing, the first step is to understand that the source of your pain is not always outside of you. It often arises from your attachments, your thoughts, and your beliefs. Once you begin to look inward, you can start to see the patterns that create suffering. And when you see these patterns, you can begin to change them. This is the true path to healing, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. As you walk this path, remember that healing is not a destination, but a process. It's a journey that requires patience, awareness, and self-compassion. It's not about eliminating pain or suffering completely, but about understanding and transforming the way you relate to it. When you can change the way you perceive suffering, you will begin to heal, and your body and mind will follow. This process of healing through understanding the nature of suffering is at the heart of Buddhist practice. It invites us to look deeply into our lives and to see the true causes of our discomfort. And as we do this, we begin to unravel the layers of attachment and expectation that keep us bound to suffering. The more we let go, the more we free ourselves from its grip. So, the next time you feel pain, whether physical or emotional, pause for a moment and ask yourself, what am I attached to right now? What expectation or belief is causing this discomfort? By simply bringing awareness to these thoughts and feelings, you begin the first step of transforming them. This is where healing begins, and this is where the true power lies, not in external treatments, but in the ability to heal yourself by understanding the nature of your suffering and letting it go. The power of awareness, mindfulness as a tool for inner healing. Imagine you are standing still, right now, in this very moment. Take a deep breath in. Feel the air fill your lungs, and as you exhale, let go of any tension. What are you aware of right now? The sounds around you? The feeling of the ground beneath your feet? Or maybe the thoughts swirling in your mind? This is what mindfulness is all about, paying attention right here, right now. It's the simple yet powerful practice of being present with your thoughts, feelings, and surroundings without judgment. When you embrace mindfulness, you're able to fully experience life without being distracted by worries of the past or anxieties about the future. You may be asking, but how does being aware of the present moment help me heal? That's a great question. Think about how often our minds are filled with chatter, stress, and anxiety. We get so caught up in the whirlwind of life, worrying about things we can't control, that we forget to live in the present moment. This constant mental noise can actually contribute to physical pain and illness. When you practice mindfulness, you begin to create space in your mind. This space allows you to see things clearly, without the emotional weight of past experiences or future fears clouding your judgment. You're not running away from your feelings or ignoring them. Instead, you are acknowledging them, observing them, and allowing them to pass naturally. This act of awareness itself is healing. Let's talk about how mindfulness works practically. When we are mindful, we bring attention to our breath. Focus on how it feels to breathe in and breathe out. When thoughts arise, and they will, simply notice them and let them go. You don't need to judge or analyze them. By practicing this consistently, you begin to train your mind to stay in the moment, not letting past worries or future uncertainties drag you away from the present. The practice of mindfulness also helps you to reconnect with your body. Often, we don't even notice the tension we carry in our bodies until it becomes pain. But when we practice mindfulness, we begin to tune into the subtle sensations in our body. Maybe you notice a tightness in your shoulders or a heaviness in your chest. Instead of ignoring or pushing through it, mindfulness invites you to observe it. You might find that just by noticing these sensations, they begin to ease. This simple act of awareness can lead to a deep sense of relaxation and healing. Mindfulness also encourages a shift in how we view the world around us. Instead of reacting automatically to situations, we begin to respond with clarity and calm. Imagine you're stuck in traffic, or someone cuts you off in line. Normally, you might feel irritation or frustration rise up. But with mindfulness, you can pause, take a breath, and simply observe your feelings without letting them control your actions. This shift in perspective allows you to handle life's challenges with greater ease and less stress. As you continue to practice mindfulness, you may begin to notice its impact not only on your mental and emotional well-being but also on your physical health. Studies have shown that mindfulness can lower blood pressure, reduce stress hormones, and even boost immune function. The more you practice, the more you tap into the body's natural ability to heal itself. The Buddhist teachings emphasize the importance of mindfulness in healing. In fact, mindfulness is one of the central practices in Buddhism. Buddha himself taught that by being fully present and aware, we can transcend suffering. By living in the moment, we stop the cycle of craving and attachment that often leads to pain. We stop identifying with our thoughts and emotions, and instead, we become the silent observer. This practice of mindfulness is not something that happens overnight. It takes time, patience, and consistency. But just like any muscle in the body, the more you practice, the stronger your ability to be present becomes. And over time, this ability will transform your life. It's easy to become overwhelmed with the demands of everyday life. There's always something pulling your attention, your work, your relationships, your responsibilities. But mindfulness invites you to step out of the rush, even for just a few moments, and reconnect with the present. It asks you to be gentle with yourself, to embrace the now, and to let go of any tension or worry that no longer serves you. It's also important to understand that mindfulness doesn't require you to escape your problems or avoid difficult emotions. Instead, it helps you to face them with a clear mind and an open heart. When you practice mindfulness, you stop reacting to life in a knee-jerk way. You begin to respond from a place of clarity, peace, and wisdom. It's not about being perfect. It's about being present and allowing things to unfold naturally, without forcing them. You may wonder, but what about the challenges I'm facing in life right now? How can mindfulness help with the pain or illness I'm experiencing? The answer lies in how mindfulness allows you to change your relationship with suffering. By practicing mindfulness, you can approach your pain with a sense of acceptance and understanding. You stop fighting against it and start to notice the ways in which your mind and body are reacting. Over time, this awareness can reduce the intensity of your suffering and help you heal. In Buddhism, suffering is seen as an inherent part of life. But what if suffering didn't have to control you? What if you could view it with a sense of understanding, rather than fear or resistance? Through mindfulness, you can begin to shift your relationship with suffering, not by avoiding it, but by accepting it as part of your journey. This acceptance, in turn, creates space for healing to occur. The power of mindfulness isn't just in the practice itself, but in the awareness it brings. As you become more mindful, you begin to notice the subtle ways in which your thoughts, feelings, and actions impact your health. You start to understand the connections between your mental state and your physical body. This knowledge empowers you to make changes, whether it's in your habits, your thoughts, or your relationships, that support your healing. As you continue on your journey of mindfulness, remember that the process is gradual. Healing takes time, and mindfulness is a practice that evolves with you. Every moment you spend being present, every time you return to the breath, you are building a foundation for deep, lasting healing. You are learning to trust yourself and your body's natural ability to heal, and that, in itself, is incredibly powerful. Mindfulness, at its core, is a return to your true self. It's a way of waking up to the present moment, of letting go of distractions, and of embracing the beauty and simplicity of life as it is. When you start to live with awareness, you start to live with intention. And when you live with intention, you create the space for healing, growth, and peace. So, as you continue to practice mindfulness, remember that this is not just a tool for your mind, it's a tool for your body as well. The more you cultivate mindfulness in your life, the more you will experience a deep sense of calm, clarity, and well-being. And through that calm, through that clarity, you will find the healing you've been seeking. Remember, the power of mindfulness is already within you. All it takes is the simple act of being present, and from that presence, everything else can begin to unfold. Detachment and disease, how clinging causes mental and physical pain. There's a story of a person who held a burning coal in their hand. They thought they could handle it, that the heat would eventually subside. But instead, the longer they held it, the more it burned. Eventually, the pain became unbearable, and yet they couldn't let go of the coal. This story, while simple, represents a deeper truth about life and suffering. Now, think about your own life. How often do you hold on to things that cause you harm? Maybe it's a toxic relationship, a job that drains you, or thoughts of regret and anger that seem to linger in your mind. These are all forms of clinging, whether it's to people, to outcomes, or even to our own identity. And just like the burning coal, the longer we hold on to these attachments, the more pain we cause ourselves. In Buddhism, there is a teaching known as the Four Noble Truths. The first truth tells us that life is filled with suffering. This suffering doesn't just come from obvious sources like illness or loss. It also arises from our attachments. Every time we cling to something, whether it's an idea, a person, or a material object, we are setting ourselves up for pain. Because nothing in this world is permanent. Everything changes. People leave. Things break. And if we cling to them, we are essentially clinging to something that will eventually slip away. And when it does, we feel the pain of loss. This is where the mental suffering begins. But this suffering doesn't just stay in the mind. It starts to affect our body as well. When we cling to thoughts of the past, fears about the future, or anxieties about what might happen, these mental states cause tension. That tension doesn't stay in your mind alone. It travels into your body. You might feel tightness in your chest, a headache, or even stomach problems. It's like trying to carry a heavy load while walking. Eventually, it weighs you down. And just like carrying that burning coal, your body starts to scream out in pain. So why do we cling so much? Why do we keep holding on, even when we know it's causing us harm? One reason is that our minds are conditioned to seek comfort and security. We believe that by holding on to certain things, we can protect ourselves, avoid pain, or find happiness. But the reality is, clinging only brings more suffering. In Buddhist teachings, the path to healing starts with letting go. It's not about pushing away the things you love or the people you care about. It's about understanding that true peace comes from within, not from external attachments. When we stop clinging to things, we free ourselves from the constant cycle of wanting, fearing, and suffering. This doesn't mean you stop caring about people or giving up on your goals. It means you stop defining your happiness and well-being based on these things. Imagine not being tied down by the need to control outcomes or hold on to things that you cannot keep forever. Imagine living with the freedom to experience life as it is, without trying to make everything fit into your expectations. That's what letting go feels like. The first step in this process is awareness. You must become aware of the things you are clinging to. It's easy to go through life without noticing how tightly we grip onto certain things. But if you pause and pay attention, you'll begin to see where your attachments lie. Maybe it's a specific person who you believe defines your happiness, or a particular situation that you are afraid to lose. Or it could be a desire for things to always go the way you want, so that you can feel in control. These are all forms of attachment. Once you've recognized your attachments, you can start to practice detachment. Detachment isn't about rejecting or pushing away. It's about accepting the natural flow of life. It's about realizing that everything is impermanent. People change, situations change, and so do we. When you accept that change is inevitable, you can stop clinging to the past and embrace the present moment. This doesn't mean you don't have desires or dreams. It means that you stop depending on them for your happiness. You begin to understand that happiness doesn't come from the things you possess, the people you are with, or the achievements you make. Happiness comes from within. It comes from a mind that is free from attachment, a heart that is open, and a body that is at peace. Letting go of attachment is also a way of healing. When you release the grip on things, your mind becomes lighter, and your body feels less tense. You start to breathe more freely. Your heart feels less burdened, and when that happens, your body can begin to heal. You may find that you feel less stressed, less anxious, and even less prone to illness. This is the power of detachment. In Buddhism, this process of letting go is not an overnight change. It's a practice, something you return to every day. It's like learning how to swim. At first, you might feel overwhelmed by the water, unsure of how to stay afloat. But with practice, you begin to feel more comfortable. You learn to trust yourself, and the water becomes less of a threat and more of a natural part of your life. The same is true with detachment. The more you practice letting go, the easier it becomes, and the more peace you experience. And so, the healing begins. It begins with releasing the attachment to what causes you pain. It begins with understanding that nothing lasts forever, and that's okay. Life is a flow, not a series of static moments. When you stop trying to hold on to everything, you open yourself up to a life of greater peace, greater health, and greater freedom. As you move forward on this journey, remember that it's not about doing it perfectly. It's not about getting rid of all attachments immediately. It's about becoming aware of them, understanding the harm they cause, and then gently letting go. Each step you take toward detachment brings you closer to healing, both in your mind and in your body. So, start with one small thing today. Notice where you are holding on too tightly. Perhaps it's a small worry, an unfulfilled desire, or a past memory. Take a deep breath, and slowly let it go. Feel the relief in your body. Feel the space it creates in your mind. That is the beginning of true healing. Karma and the body, the invisible thread of cause and effect. In the stillness of your mind, imagine for a moment that every action you take, every word you speak, and even every thought you think, sends ripples through the world around you. It's as if you were casting stones into a calm lake, and the ripples spread outward, touching everything they encounter. This is the law of karma, the simple but profound truth that every action has consequences. Now, let me ask you something. Have you ever wondered why some people seem to face constant illness, while others remain healthy even in the most challenging situations? Or why certain emotions, like anger or resentment, can cause pain in your body? These are not just coincidences. They are deeply connected to the energy you put out into the world. The actions you take, whether positive or negative, create a chain of events that influence your physical and mental health. This is where karma plays its most significant role. In Buddhism, karma is not just about punishment or reward. It is about the natural unfolding of cause and effect. It teaches us that our intentions, whether good or bad, plant seeds that will eventually grow and bear fruit. The energy you send out into the world comes back to you, not necessarily in the form you expect, but in a way that shapes your life, your experiences, and, ultimately, your health. If you carry anger, resentment, or guilt within you, these negative emotions create disharmony within your body. Over time, this disharmony manifests in the form of illness, pain, and disease. But it's not all doom and gloom. The beauty of karma is that it's never too late to change the seeds you're planting. Just as negative karma can create suffering, positive karma can heal and transform your life. If you begin to act with kindness, compassion, and understanding, you are planting the seeds of peace and health. These positive actions, in turn, will ripple out into the world, returning to you as harmony, joy, and well-being. It is important to understand that the body is not separate from the mind and spirit. They are interconnected, woven together by the threads of karma. When we are kind to others, when we practice mindfulness and compassion, our body responds with health. When we let go of the burdens of anger and resentment, we allow space for healing to occur. Our body listens to our thoughts and emotions. They are the messages it receives and the language it speaks. Imagine, for a moment, that your body is like a garden. Every thought, every action, is like a seed you plant in that garden. If you plant seeds of love, compassion, and gratitude, your garden will grow lush, vibrant, and full of life. But if you plant seeds of hatred, anger, and fear, your garden will become overrun with weeds, making it difficult for anything beautiful to grow. Your health, both physical and mental, is a reflection of the garden within. Now think about this. When you do something kind for another person, not only do they benefit, but you also create good karma for yourself. Your actions send out waves of positivity, which come back to you in ways you may not immediately see. It's like planting a tree. You may not see the fruits right away, but eventually, they will come. And in the meantime, your life becomes richer, more meaningful, and more peaceful. This is how karma works to heal you. On the other hand, when you hold on to negative emotions or harbor grudges, you are sowing the seeds of suffering. The bitterness you hold within you is like poison to your body. It clouds your mind, weakens your spirit, and creates blockages in your body that can lead to illness. It's important to recognize this connection between mind and body, because often, the physical pain we experience is simply a reflection of the emotional and mental burdens we carry. Think of the times when you felt angry or upset. Did you notice how your body responded? Maybe your chest tightened, your muscles tensed, or your stomach became upset. Your body was reacting to the negative energy you were holding on to. This is karma in action. The body is speaking to you, telling you that something is out of balance. When we ignore these messages, the tension and discomfort build up, eventually leading to physical illness. But when we take time to release negative emotions, practice forgiveness, and cultivate peace within ourselves, our body begins to heal. The concept of karma teaches us that we are not victims of our circumstances. Instead, we are active participants in shaping our lives. Every choice we make, every thought we entertain, creates the reality we experience. If we want to experience health, peace, and joy, we must begin by sowing the seeds of these qualities in our thoughts and actions. It's not about waiting for someone or something outside of us to change. It's about changing ourselves from within. One of the most powerful ways to heal the body through karma is to practice mindfulness. By becoming aware of your thoughts and actions, you can catch negative patterns before they take root. Mindfulness allows you to see when you are holding on to anger, fear, or resentment, and gives you the power to release these emotions before they cause harm. By practicing mindfulness, you become the gardener of your own life, tending to your thoughts and actions with care and attention. Healing also comes from understanding the impermanent nature of life. In Buddhism, we are taught that everything is temporary, including our suffering. When we recognize that our pain, whether physical or emotional, is not permanent, it becomes easier to let go of it. We begin to understand that, just as joy comes and goes, so too does suffering. This understanding frees us from the grip of fear and allows us to heal. The body is not just a physical entity, it is a reflection of the mind. If your mind is filled with negative thoughts and emotions, your body will mirror that state. But if you cultivate peace, compassion, and understanding in your mind, your body will respond in kind. This is the power of karma. It shows us that we are responsible for our own healing. By changing our thoughts, actions, and attitudes, we can transform our health and well-being. Healing without medicine is not about denying the existence of illness, but about recognizing that true healing comes from within. It is about understanding the deep connection between mind, body, and spirit, and taking responsibility for the energy we send out into the world. When we align our actions with compassion, kindness, and mindfulness, we create the conditions for healing to occur naturally. And as we heal, we begin to see the interconnectedness of all things, how our actions, thoughts, and energy ripple out into the world, creating a harmonious flow of health, peace, and joy. Breath of life, using Buddhist breathing practices to restore balance. Imagine a moment when your mind is racing, thoughts spinning around, your body tense and full of discomfort. You're caught up in the hustle of everyday life, consumed by stress, worries, and everything that feels out of control. In that moment, you may feel disconnected from yourself, lost in a sea of chaos. But there's one simple, powerful tool that you carry with you all the time, a tool that can instantly bring you back to balance and restore peace: your breath. Breathing is something we do without thinking, yet it holds incredible power over our mind and body. In Buddhism, the breath is considered sacred, a bridge between the mind and the body, a means to anchor us in the present moment. By focusing on your breath, you can quiet your thoughts, ease your body, and begin to heal not just physically but emotionally and spiritually as well. Breathing is more than just a physiological process. It is a spiritual practice. When we breathe consciously, we reconnect with the present moment, pulling ourselves out of the chaos of our thoughts. In every breath, we are reminded of the impermanence of life. The inhalation and exhalation, like the flow of life itself, come and go. Understanding this rhythm of life through the breath helps us stay grounded, calm, and clear-minded. If you've ever felt like your mind is overwhelmed or your emotions are in turmoil, the first thing you can do to regain control is to pay attention to your breath. It's as simple as stopping for a moment, closing your eyes, and just breathing. Inhale deeply, hold for a moment, and then exhale slowly. Feel the cool air enter your body and the warm air leave. As you focus on this simple act, you begin to release the tension in your body, and the noise in your mind starts to fade away. One of the core teachings of Buddhism is mindfulness. This means being fully present, not caught up in the past or future, but right here, right now. Your breath is your anchor to the present. By simply paying attention to your breathing, you practice mindfulness, and mindfulness is a pathway to healing. In Buddhist practice, the breath is not only a tool to bring you into the present moment, but also a way to cultivate deep inner peace. When you focus on your breath, you tap into a natural rhythm that allows your mind to settle and your body to relax. As you breathe in deeply, you bring in fresh energy, nourishing your body. As you exhale, you let go of the old, the stagnant, the negative, and the stressful. This process of breathing is a form of release, a way to cleanse your body and mind. As you continue with each breath, you become more attuned to your inner state. In this space, healing can begin. You may notice that your body begins to soften, your tension melts away, and your thoughts become clearer. The act of breathing becomes a meditation in itself. It is not just a physical action, it is a doorway to inner peace. Now, imagine practicing this every day. Every time you feel overwhelmed, stressed, or out of balance, you can simply stop and focus on your breath. You don't need anything else. No medication, no external solutions, just the breath, something you already have and can use at any moment. With each breath, you return to yourself. With each breath, you heal. In Buddhism, there is a specific practice called anapanasati, which is mindfulness of the breath. It is the practice of paying attention to the breath as it enters and leaves your body. By focusing your attention solely on the breath, you develop concentration and a deep sense of awareness. This practice is not just about relaxing the body, it is about connecting deeply with your inner being, with the present moment, and with the vast stillness that resides within you. Over time, as you practice this technique, you begin to notice how your breath affects not only your body but also your emotions and thoughts. You may notice that your mind starts to become clearer, your heart more open, and your emotions more balanced. The simple act of focusing on your breath can transform your whole experience of life. The breath is not just about inhaling air into your lungs. It is about taking in life itself, the essence of the present moment. Each breath is an opportunity to reconnect with your true nature, to return to the stillness and peace that exists at the core of who you are. The more you practice mindful breathing, the more you will realize that healing is not something you need to go searching for. It is something that is already within you, waiting to be unlocked. Imagine now, in the midst of a busy day, feeling overwhelmed with responsibilities, anxious about the future, or stressed by your environment. In that moment, instead of running to external distractions or looking for a quick fix, you pause and breathe. You take a deep breath in, slowly and gently, and let it out, releasing all the tension. You do this for a few moments, and you immediately feel your heart rate slow down, your mind clear, and your body relax. This simple practice, though small, is incredibly powerful. It is a reminder that you hold the power to control your mind and body, to heal yourself, and to find peace no matter the circumstances. The more you practice, the more this simple act of breathing becomes second nature to you, and you begin to carry its calming effects with you throughout your day. With each breath, you strengthen your connection to the present moment and to your true self. Through this practice, you'll start to see how your breath can become a foundation for healing in every aspect of your life. As you continue, you might notice less anxiety, fewer physical aches, and a stronger sense of clarity and calm. This is the power of the breath, a tool that is always available to you, no matter where you are, no matter what is happening in your life. In Buddhist teachings, the breath is often described as a way to transcend the ego, to move beyond the constant chatter of the mind and into a deeper state of awareness. It is in this state that healing can truly take place. By learning to focus on the breath and clear the mind, we allow ourselves to experience life with greater presence, awareness, and peace. So, the next time you feel yourself caught in the storm of your thoughts or overwhelmed by the demands of life, remember this simple yet profound practice. Close your eyes, focus on your breath, and just breathe. With each breath, return to the present, to yourself, and to the natural healing power that exists within you. Through the breath, you can bring your body, mind, and spirit back into balance. The middle path, lifestyle harmony for long-term well-being. The middle path, as taught by the Buddha, is the art of balance. It's the path that leads us away from extremes, guiding us toward a life of harmony and peace. It's easy to get caught up in one of two ways, too much or too little. We often find ourselves overindulging in things that temporarily satisfy us, or we push ourselves too hard, believing that only by being extreme will we ever achieve our goals. But this approach doesn't lead to lasting peace or good health. It leads to exhaustion, stress, and dissatisfaction. If you look closely, you'll notice how much of our daily lives are shaped by extremes. We eat too much when we're stressed or deprived. We work too long, thinking that success lies in sheer effort, only to burn out. We seek happiness in the next big thing, believing that a new possession or experience will make us feel complete. But in the end, these extremes leave us tired and unfulfilled. The Buddhist teaching of the middle path offers us a way out. It invites us to find balance in everything we do, whether it's in our thoughts, our actions, or even our desires. Living a life of balance doesn't mean you give up the things you enjoy. It means you find the right amount for yourself, where you're neither overdoing nor depriving yourself. Imagine a life where you wake up feeling peaceful, without the stress of overburdening yourself with too many goals or desires. Imagine a lifestyle where your daily routines are not about rushing to complete tasks or gaining more, but about enjoying each moment, finding joy in simplicity. This balance isn't something that happens overnight. It requires awareness and practice. The first step is understanding the importance of moderation. The Buddha taught that a balanced life is one that avoids both indulgence and self-mortification. It's a middle ground where you neither harm your body with excess nor neglect it through neglect or deprivation. It's about caring for yourself, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally as well. If you can find that sweet spot where you're neither too harsh nor too lenient with yourself, you'll begin to see the change in your health, your relationships, and your inner peace. Take your eating habits, for example. It's easy to fall into patterns where we either eat out of stress or overindulge in things we know aren't good for us. But with the middle path, we learn to eat with mindfulness. We become aware of what our body truly needs. Do we eat when we are genuinely hungry, or just out of habit? When you eat mindfully, you start to notice when you're full and when you've had enough. You begin to understand that food is nourishment, not just a way to fill a void or entertain yourself. Balance in eating doesn't mean you never indulge, but it means you are conscious of when and why you are doing it. It's about treating your body with respect, knowing when to give it what it needs and when to rest. When it comes to work and productivity, the middle path also offers profound wisdom. Many people live their lives constantly pushing themselves to do more, be more, and achieve more. They work long hours, sacrificing sleep, health, and even relationships, believing that success is the ultimate goal. But in truth, this kind of life leads to burnout. If you constantly strive for perfection or success at the cost of your well-being, you'll eventually lose both your health and your happiness. The Buddha encourages us to find balance in our work as well. This doesn't mean you stop working hard, but rather that you work with intention, knowing when to push forward and when to rest. It's about having periods of intense focus followed by times of rest and renewal. Success becomes not about constant striving, but about conscious living. Emotions, too, need to be balanced. In today's world, we are often pushed to suppress or ignore our feelings. We're told to be strong by burying emotions deep inside. On the other hand, some people let their emotions run wild, reacting impulsively without any control. Neither approach is healthy. The middle path teaches us to understand and accept our emotions without being controlled by them. When you feel anger, sadness, or joy, acknowledge it, but don't let it control your actions. Emotional balance means recognizing that your emotions are a natural part of being human, but they don't need to dictate your life. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, you can create a peaceful space where you can respond to your feelings instead of reacting impulsively. The concept of balance extends into your relationships as well. It's easy to fall into the trap of over-giving or over-relying on others. In some relationships, we try too hard to please others, putting their needs before our own, only to feel drained and unappreciated. In others, we may expect too much, demanding from others without considering their needs or boundaries. The middle path teaches us to approach our relationships with awareness and care. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect and understanding, not extremes. They require balance, where both parties give and take in harmony. It's about being kind to others without losing your sense of self, and offering love without expecting anything in return. One of the most powerful ways the middle path can improve your life is by changing your perspective. So often, we focus on the end goal, the destination, forgetting that life itself is the journey. The middle path invites us to slow down and enjoy the present moment. It's about being fully aware and engaged in everything we do. Whether you're working, eating, or spending time with loved ones, you can approach these activities with mindfulness and joy. This shift in perspective can be life-changing. It reduces anxiety and stress because you are no longer overwhelmed by the future or stuck in the past. You learn to appreciate what's in front of you, and in doing so, you unlock a sense of peace that has always been available to you. Of course, balance doesn't mean you live a life of constant calm and peace. There will be times of struggle, times of difficulty. But with the middle path, you learn how to face these challenges with a sense of equanimity. You don't let life's ups and downs throw you off course. Instead, you meet each moment as it comes, knowing that everything is part of the natural flow of life. This mindset helps you stay grounded, no matter what's happening around you. You can navigate through challenges with a sense of inner peace, knowing that you don't have to react with fear or anxiety. You can choose to respond with wisdom and calm. In the end, living the middle path is about finding that balance between effort and ease, between striving and letting go. It's about living with intention, being present in every moment, and accepting life as it comes. It's a way of being that doesn't demand perfection, but rather encourages growth, understanding, and peace. When you walk the middle path, you create a life that is in tune with your deepest needs and desires, a life that is harmonious and whole. As you continue to practice this balance in your daily life, remember that it's not about achieving something outside of yourself, but about returning to your true nature. It's about living a life of wisdom, compassion, and mindfulness. And as you do, you'll find that healing, both mentally and physically, comes naturally. It's the healing that arises when you live in harmony with yourself and the world around you. Noble truths, noble health, applying core Buddhist teachings to daily life. In life, we often forget that the way we think, the way we speak, and the way we act directly affect the health of our minds and bodies. Many of us believe that health is only about what we eat or how we exercise. But Buddhism teaches us that health is so much more than that. True health begins with understanding the nature of our existence in our inner world. It begins with awareness, understanding, and transforming how we relate to everything around us. Buddha's teachings, particularly the Four Noble Truths, offer profound insight into how we can live healthier lives, mentally, physically, and spiritually. These truths are not just philosophical ideas, they are practical tools for living. By understanding and applying them, we can free ourselves from the mental and emotional patterns that lead to suffering and illness. This is where true healing begins. When we learn to live in harmony with these teachings, our bodies and minds naturally align, and healing becomes a natural consequence. The first noble truth tells us that suffering exists. It is a reality of life. No matter how much we try to avoid it, pain and discomfort are part of the human experience. This suffering can be physical, emotional, or mental. But it's important to realize that suffering is not something that happens to us randomly. It arises from our attachments, our desires, and our unwillingness to accept the impermanence of life. When we resist the flow of life, we create tension within ourselves. This tension can manifest as stress, illness, or emotional distress. Once we accept that suffering is inevitable, we can move to the second noble truth, the cause of suffering. Buddha taught that the cause of suffering is craving and clinging. We crave comfort, security, pleasure, and control. We cling to these desires, believing they are essential for our happiness. But the truth is, the more we chase after these things, the more we trap ourselves in a cycle of dissatisfaction. Our expectations create mental and emotional turmoil. The constant wanting, whether it's for wealth, love, status, or even perfect health, leaves us feeling unfulfilled and stressed. This craving is the root cause of so much of our physical and mental suffering. The third noble truth offers us hope. It tells us that suffering can end. This is where healing comes in. If we can let go of our cravings, our attachments, and our unrealistic expectations, we can break free from suffering. This is not a passive act, but an active transformation. Healing begins when we stop holding on to things that no longer serve us. Whether it's past traumas, negative emotions, or harmful habits, we must be willing to release them. This doesn't mean we deny our pain. It means we accept it, learn from it, and then let it go. When we stop identifying with our suffering, we open ourselves up to peace, balance, and health. The fourth noble truth shows us the way out, the path to the cessation of suffering. This is known as the Eightfold Path. It is a set of principles that guide us in our thoughts, speech, actions, livelihood, effort, mindfulness, and concentration. By practicing the Eightfold Path, we align ourselves with a healthier, more peaceful way of living. This path is not about achieving perfection. It is about steady progress, learning, and transforming each day. When we apply these teachings in our lives, they have a profound effect on our health. Our minds become clearer, our emotions more balanced, and our bodies more relaxed. It's not a magic solution or a quick fix. It's a way of life, a commitment to being mindful and intentional in every moment. And as we practice these teachings, we begin to see that our mental and emotional health directly influences our physical well-being. We realize that we are not just isolated individuals but part of a larger whole. The health of our body, mind, and spirit is interconnected. Buddhism teaches that suffering arises from ignorance, not just ignorance of the world around us, but ignorance of ourselves. We do not understand the nature of our mind, our emotions, or our desires. We do not see how our attachments and cravings shape our lives. By practicing mindfulness and self-awareness, we begin to see clearly. When we see clearly, we can make choices that promote health and well-being. This understanding of suffering, craving, and the path to freedom from suffering is not just an intellectual exercise. It's something that must be lived. Every day, we have the opportunity to practice these teachings. We can start by being more aware of our thoughts. Are they negative or positive? Are they rooted in fear, desire, or attachment? When we are aware of our thoughts, we can begin to transform them. Instead of reacting impulsively or out of habit, we can choose to respond with mindfulness and compassion. Similarly, we can examine our speech. Are we speaking with kindness and honesty? Do we use our words to build others up or tear them down? Words have great power. They can heal or harm, inspire or destroy. By speaking mindfully, we contribute to our own health and the well-being of those around us. Our actions are also a reflection of our inner state. Are we acting out of greed, anger, or fear? Or are we acting out of wisdom, compassion, and love? Every action we take shapes our reality. When we act with awareness and integrity, we create positive energy in our lives and in the world. By practicing right livelihood, we align our work and daily activities with our values. This doesn't mean we have to change careers or quit everything, but it means we need to reflect on whether our actions are contributing to our own well-being and the well-being of others. Are we living in a way that brings peace and balance into our lives, or are we constantly struggling, stressed, and unfulfilled? Effort is another key part of the path. Buddhism teaches us to make an effort to cultivate positive qualities like patience, generosity, and mindfulness. This effort is not about pushing ourselves too hard, but about being consistent in our practice. Over time, small efforts add up to big changes in our mental and physical health. Mindfulness is perhaps the most powerful tool in the Buddhist path to healing. By being present in each moment, we become more aware of our thoughts, feelings, and actions. Mindfulness helps us to break free from automatic reactions and patterns. It allows us to choose how we respond to life's challenges, rather than being controlled by them. Concentration, or deep focus, is the final part of the path. When we can focus our minds, we can direct our energy toward healing, growth, and transformation. Concentration helps us to overcome distractions and to stay present in our practice. Incorporating the teachings of the Four Noble Truths in the Eightfold Path into our daily lives allows us to live more fully, more mindfully, and more healthily. It shows us that health is not just the absence of disease, but the presence of peace, balance, and clarity. By following the path, we heal not just our bodies, but our minds and spirits as well. True health is not something that can be found outside of us. It is something that arises from within when we cultivate the right understanding, the right attitude, and the right practice. As we walk this path, we begin to see that healing is not a destination but a journey toward peace, freedom, and enlightenment. And in this journey, the health of our body and mind naturally follows. Enlightened living, final insights in your journey ahead. Imagine for a moment that you've walked a long path. At the beginning, you were uncertain, unsure of what lay ahead. But now, as you look back, you see the distance you've traveled, the growth you've experienced, and the understanding you've gained. You've learned that healing doesn't just come from medicine, it comes from within you. It comes from the mind, the spirit, and the way you connect with the world around you. When we started this journey, we began by questioning the very idea of healing. Could it be possible to heal ourselves without depending on pills, doctors, or external solutions? The answer, as we've seen, is yes. You have the power to heal yourself. You have the ability to bring balance to your life and restore harmony to your body and mind. It's not just about physical health. It's about mental clarity, emotional peace, and spiritual fulfillment. Throughout this journey, we've explored many profound ideas rooted in Buddhist teachings. We've talked about suffering, mindfulness, breath, compassion, and detachment. Each of these principles holds the key to a deeper understanding of how to live a life of peace and healing. But the most important lesson of all is this: the true source of healing is not found in the outside world. It is found within you. As you've learned, suffering is not something that happens to us. It is something we create with our minds. The Buddha taught that suffering arises from attachment, desire, and ignorance. When we hold on too tightly to things, when we expect life to always go our way, or when we resist what is happening in the present moment, we create suffering. But when we let go of these attachments, when we accept things as they are, and when we become aware of our thoughts, we begin to heal. Mindfulness is a tool that allows us to see the world more clearly. By paying attention to our thoughts, our emotions, and our actions, we can start to understand the patterns that cause us harm. When we are mindful, we can notice when we are stressed or anxious, and we can choose to let go of those feelings. We can choose to focus on the present moment, to breathe deeply, and to release any negative energy. One of the most powerful practices for healing is breath. The simple act of breathing, when done with intention and awareness, can calm the mind, relax the body, and restore balance. When you take a deep breath, you are not just filling your lungs with air. You are filling your entire being with life. You are reconnecting to the present moment, to the natural flow of energy within and around you. Compassion is another tool that can help you heal. When you cultivate love and kindness, not only towards others but also towards yourself, you begin to create a healing environment. Compassion allows you to forgive, to release resentment, and to embrace your own humanity. It is through compassion that we truly understand our shared experience, and it is through compassion that we heal the wounds of the heart. Letting go of attachment is perhaps one of the most difficult teachings, but it is also one of the most liberating. When we are attached to outcomes, to people, or to possessions, we are bound by those attachments. We are constantly in a state of wanting, striving, and grasping. But when we let go of these attachments, we free ourselves. We allow ourselves to be at peace with what is, and we create the space for healing to take place. The middle path teaches us to live in balance, without extremes. We don't need to be consumed by material desires, nor do we need to live in complete denial of our needs. We find a middle ground, where we live with intention, where we care for our body and mind, and where we nurture our relationships with others. This balanced approach is the foundation of a life that is both healthy and meaningful. You've also learned that the mind and body are deeply connected. When we treat our bodies with respect, when we feed them with nourishing food, give them enough rest, and move them in ways that support their natural strength, we are giving them the best chance to heal. The same goes for our minds. When we nourish our thoughts with positivity, with patience, and with understanding, we create a fertile ground for healing to occur. Enlightened living is not a destination, it is a way of being. It is about living in the present moment with awareness and compassion. It is about understanding that you are not your thoughts, your body, or your circumstances. You are the observer of these things. You are the consciousness that holds it all together. When you realize this, when you live from this place of awareness, you open yourself to a life of peace, health, and inner freedom. Healing is a journey that requires patience, practice, and commitment. It is not something that happens overnight. But with each step you take, you move closer to a life of true well-being. You begin to understand that health is not just the absence of disease, but the presence of peace, balance, and harmony within yourself. As you continue on your path, remember that healing is not about perfection. It is about progress. It is about accepting yourself as you are, without judgment, and making the choice to live in alignment with your highest truth. You don't need to be perfect, and you don't need to have all the answers. You simply need to be present, to be mindful, and to show yourself kindness and compassion. The power to heal is in your hands. It always has been. Now, as you step forward into the rest of your life, carry these teachings with you. Practice mindfulness, cultivate compassion, and let go of attachments. Breathe deeply, live intentionally, and remember that you are capable of healing yourself. Thank you for joining me on this journey. I hope that the insights shared here have inspired you to begin your own path to healing. It is not always easy, but it is always worth it. Keep walking the path with awareness, love, and patience, and know that the peace you seek is already within you. As we close this chapter, remember, healing is not a destination, it's a way of living. Keep the teachings of mindfulness, compassion, and balance close to your heart, and continue to embrace your true nature. You have everything you need within you. Trust in your ability to heal, and trust in the wisdom of the path ahead. The journey does not end here. It continues with every breath you take, every thought you have, and every choice you make. Keep walking the path of enlightenment, and may your life be filled with peace, health, and true happiness. Thank you for being part of this transformative journey. I wish you peace and healing on your path,